give me one mic. Everybody's got excuses, but you got one life to live, one life to give, one moment, one opportunity. Boy, that's it, and it's all said and done. When the going gets tough and the tough gets going, you just go ahead and run. Cause opinions are like assholes, everybody has one. They're being constructive or they jealous of the outcome. It's not about the times you fail, it's about the times you got up. And I don't even care what the fuck your excuses is. Fact is, you just playing the cards of foolishness. What you think I'm dubious, you gotta get up, get going and just move on. Don't look towards the past, you gotta groove on. You procrastinating now, you gotta get that motivation. I already created a track called Inspiration. Gotta get up, get going and get fucking hype. Go ahead, kid, go ahead and live your life with no regrets, no regard all the fucking time. Cause
hey, that was a new intro that I just clicked on that I didn't realize was a thing. Welcome, everybody, to Wrestling Talk Now, where, of course, we are going to run it down. Jesus, we already have a comment. Oh, that's just Stream Elements. We're good. Welcome, everybody, to Wrestling Talk Now. This is Rundown Thursday nights, as always. And as always, we seem to be missing people. This time around, though, before I mention my co-host here, of course, we got a lot to talk about. We got SummerSlam that went on. We also got Ric Flairs' last match. And we got what happened on Raw and Dynamite and a little bit of breaking news. Nothing overly too crazy, but I'm sure there's stuff to talk about there. Before we go through all of that, though, of course, I have my co-hostest with the mostest, Jeff T. How goes it, good sir?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for that warm introduction.
I do what I can. I do what I can.
Cool.
So I guess we'll start with, first of all, did you watch Ric Flair's last match?
I did.
Last match?
Yeah. I did. It was I don't know what to say about the event, the event itself. I saw some of the other matches, the undercard. I think it was okay. I think it was well booked. It was, for what it was, obviously the selling point is Ric Flair's last match, right? But the match itself, the tag match there, it was kind of like,
Man, well, and it turns out he passed out. He had legitimately passed out. He was literally down on the ring apron for like 5 minutes, and then Andrade went to go tag him in, and it looked like he was just out of it. And just by his mouth being open, you can tell that he was just lacking whatever oxygen to his brain. He was passed out. He needed to get air quick, and that turns out that's kind of what it was. It was okay, apparently. 2 doctors checked him out. He still went freaking partying with Kid Rock apparently that night too.
Yeah,
so,
he seemed like even afterwards, like obviously probably tired, and his classic Ric Flair fashion, he bladed and bled a lot. So I'm sure that's what probably led to him passing out. Wouldn't be surprised. But it was okay. I mean, I can't say it was bad. The match itself, I know a lot of people online saying the match should have never happened, that it was terrible. It's like,
Well, I mean,
what are you gonna expect? What are you gonna expect from it? That's the question. You know what I mean? It's more you're watching the spectacle of the fact that, not even a spectacle, but the fact that is like you said, we'll use in quotations, his last match,
right?
Which doesn't mean that he won't be involved in wrestling. He just probably won't wrestle anymore. Doesn't mean he can't, be a manager of some sorts.
Exactly. Yeah. And also to the point of, I don't think he should. I mean, he didn't really do much. I think he did in total 3 bumps during the entire matchup, and that was it. But even with that, he had passed out. Of course, we had mentioned he wasn't going to take his blood thinners during the match so that he can bleed, and obviously, therefore, not cause more danger to his health and risk of him actually dying.
Yeah, that's another thing too. We have to take.
How goes it, Crazy Cal? Thanks for coming in.
It's another thing we have to take into consideration too. The guy came off of a pretty big health scare, so
Right. I think it was Billy Graham who had posted on his Facebook page saying that it was a complete disrespect to doctors and whatever have you. These people risk their life. These people risk their, time and so on to help, make you better. And then you go and do something stupid as this. I kind of get that. At the end of the day, it is what it is. He was helping his son-in-law out. Ric Flair likes to be in the spotlight, no matter in which way, shape, or form. I truly thought, he might have died in the ring. And I think that's kind of maybe what Ric Flair almost kind of wants, just so that it could be that legacy of, hey, I'm a true wrestler through and through. So much of the fact that I died in this ring, just where my spotlight is and what I like to do, kind of thing. So
that's not the first time you've heard that. You would hear that or expect that from certain wrestlers. You know what I mean? So
no, exactly.
We're all happy. We're happy that it didn't happen, but
right. Yeah, but it was better than I guess expected. I was really surprised with Jeff Jarrett, only to realize he's still young. He's only like 55.
Yeah,
and I was shocked. I thought he was older, so I was like, "Man, Jarrett looks really good." And then I'm like, "Oh fuck, he's only 55."
But isn't he? I was actually surprised because isn't he in WWE's front office?
Well, he's in some kind of management role, but it doesn't necessarily matter. I don't think, especially for a Ric Flair thing. I don't think probably got to pass. Okay, you know what? Help. Because everyone in that ring knew how to protect Flair. Andrade and Jay Lethal are obviously professionals through and through. Andrade is not going to risk anything happen to his father-in-law. Boom. Hello. Thank you, Ambrosia, for coming on through. We certainly appreciate the view, the watch, and the support. And obviously Jay Lethal, who trained Ric Flair, is not going to, risk all his work, not go all out. And anyone, honestly, if anything happened to Flair in that match, I feel like any of those wrestlers' careers would be like over. They would be synonymous with Ric Flair, dying in the ring or getting really badly injured or something to the point of, it would look bad on you.
I get you. I understand your point, but I don't.
They gave him permission. I guess that's Big Red. Crazy. Not me.
But I guess he has insider info that we don't. Maybe he's friends with Conrad.
Oh, jeez.
But I understand your point about, let's say, like them maybe, having like a dark cloud over them if something would have happened to him.
Right.
At the end of the day, Ric Flair is an adult. I mean, this is what he wanted to do, and he knew it was a payday. That's what it was. That's all it was for him. Really, it was a payday. So, I mean, maybe it was like if it is indeed his last match, which I think it would be. It's a decent enough way to go out. I mean, how else would you want to go out? You know what I mean? He could have very well called it quits after
Shawn Michaels match. Maybe he should have just. Well, he even wrestled after that with. I think he did an Impact with
TNA.
Which he wrestled. Was a pretty decent match.
Yeah, he even wrestled Jay Lethal too in TNA. So, but that again, like it's nothing new. A wrestler says, "Look at Terry Funk. How many times has he retired, unretired, you know what I mean?"
Right.
So. It was okay. It was fine for what it was.
Exactly. That's it. And honestly, the rest of the card too. This is my first time seeing Jacob Fatu as well, and holy shit, give me more. This guy was pretty fire, inside and outside the ring. He was. I almost want to say he's the most athletic out of that family, but that's a bold statement and won't go that far. But I definitely want to see more of his matches. There was a AAA matchup too. It was a pretty decent card. So in reality, I kind of knew that the last match, although that's what the spectacle was for, the last match was probably going to be the worst match on the card. So but he didn't die. He's there. I could have done without seeing Jerry Lawler. in the back with Jarrett, but it is what it is. It's Jim Crockett Promotions and all that. I also could have done with that really old school outro and intro. Looked really bad, but it's old school. It's whatever, promoting the olden days, the local area. It was in Memphis. Was it Memphis?
Nashville.
It was in Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville.
So, it was what it was. He didn't die. And, I guess it's if you paid for the full thing, you got a pretty good roast out of it too on the StarCast events. Roast wasn't bad.
The roast was all right.
It was all right. I don't know if Eric Bischoff was just drunk, but he went on some kind of freaking tangent about shaving his balls and not being old.
Yeah, that was weird.
Very weird. Brian Knobs there. I figured he was not going to make sense, and I figured right.
He never did even when he was sober.
Right. So, but he lost a bunch of weight. I was like, oh shit, look at him go. So
yeah, I guess from what they said, he had a pretty big health scare. So it's nice to see that he's doing all right.
He took that seriously. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the Ric Flairs shindig. That was technically on Sunday, so we're backtracking a bit. SummerSlam. So
let me take a deep breath and exhale because I'm gonna have to take a deep breath on this one.
Okay, so let's bring the our viewers here who are watching maybe a little bit of context. So obviously we all were watching SummerSlam.
It was a slum slam for some of the event. Yeah.
For some of us, and we suddenly realized that some of our co-hosts are hardcore marks, and I would have loved to have blasted them, but they had other things to do.
A little too overzealous. Let's say
a little too overzealous. Everyone's talking about it being a new era now. SummerSlam was the greatest SummerSlam ever. This is not just our co-host necessarily, but just a bunch of Twitter talk I was just reading afterwards. Just people just overselling SummerSlam. I get women's match was fire. Best match of the night for me personally. Yes, I did enjoy Bayley come out with Dakota Kai and Io Sky now. No longer Io Shirai, but Io Sky. And that was cool. That was great. That's setting up. At least we got Bayley back. That was a Triple H call-up and very last minute. So that was a Triple H thing, which is why it might have seemed that they didn't kind of know what to do when they got in the ring, and it wasn't really planned properly. Yeah. But certainly a good surprise. And that unfortunately was it until, the end with Brock and Roman. But we got to see Logan Paul. Logan Paul looks legitimate as a wrestler.
Yeah, he's pretty good. You could tell that he puts the work in.
That's it. So there is definitely respect there. And, for wanting to, on your first match, or I guess second match, for wanting to do a 5-star or a frog splash to the announce table, pretty gutsy, pretty ballsy. And I applaud him to that. Obviously, he was going to win. Miz can take the L.
You would think, yeah.
So
because the loss doesn't hurt them.
No, exactly, and there would be no point especially Logan Paul's multi-year contract. We're definitely going to be seeing more of him. Did mention on Raw, I think on Raw on a segment that he will be back sooner than later. Probably just be there for the events, the special events.
Yeah, he'll be a special attraction.
Special attraction sort of ordeal. Yeah.
Well, here's my take on kind of what we touched on at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like what I brought up in a previous show, where I think a lot of people got a little overexcited at the PG-14 rating. It's like, hold your horses, take a breather. The year's not even finished yet. I mean, has Raw it's already on, right? The whole PG-14.
Well, I think Hulu is already categorizing it as PG-14. I honestly didn't pay attention to when it
But
started and what
it's
it
as of
said.
July 18th, I think, right? Or
Well, that was the rumor, and I don't think they technically changed to July 18th, but I think it's there because now I'm hearing Seth Rollins say bitch like really loudly on Raw. So I feel like it's there now, yes.
okay, so if that's what everyone who's a WWE will use the M word. I don't want to offend anybody, so we'll use the M word.
Mm,
If everyone's gonna get overexcited about this just because he's allowed to say bitch on TV,
mhm.
let's just calm down first, okay? Equally with the people who thought that, you know, after one event, after one match, oh, the new era has begun. It's like let's see how the rest of the year pans out. Let's get to next WrestleMania and let's see how every other event throughout that year leading up to the next WrestleMania is. Now, it's like I listen to a lot of various wrestling podcasts where you'll have guys like Kevin Nash just spoken about Triple H, which you expect him to say good things. And I'm not trying to
Right.
discredit him. Absolutely not. I'm not. But at the end of the
Right.
day, they have to, whether their creative process is way more advanced than Vince, they have to still answer to a board of directors, regardless of what
Right.
they want to change. You
Right.
know, so if this PG-14 thing, if they start taking it a little bit too far, and their board of directors is saying, "Hey, we're losing a lot of, especially now in this day and age where, we'll say cancel culture.
Mhm.
If shit and bitch is viewed as too like risque, and kids start tuning out, which means less merch selling,
All right.
less ratings. Guess what? That PG-14 rating doesn't mean shit because if they start losing money because of that, and if the board of directors say, "Okay, guys, let's go back to what we had," then the whole hype around this PG-14 thing is nothing. That's why I think it's like, hey, let's just take a break. Let's take a breather, relax, and see the
Mhm.
way it goes till Mania.
I think I mean, yes, we're obviously going to watch for that as well, but I think in terms of seeing changes with what Triple H is doing. So first of all, the PG-14 rating was a USA thing, apparently. It was announced by USA that they would allow WWE to do that. I think it's technically up to WWE if they want to push the threshold
Yeah.
to doing a lot more mature content and so on and so forth with the PG-14 era. Triple H might take advantage of that since AEW is PG-14, and Triple H automatically assumes that they are competition between each other, which is rightfully so. So I think Triple H will start doing more with that. I don't think they'll take it full-fledged attitude era, because that just wouldn't work in today's day and age.
Because PG-14 15, 20 years ago, or 25 years ago, isn't PG-14 the way it is today. So it's
Right.
not like it's not the same
That's
thing.
now
So,
more like 18.
well, yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
exactly
rated
it.
R. Yeah.
So that's another thing too. Is WWE gonna want to go full blown? Because what do they gain out of it? Like,
I
think about it.
honest
What do they gain out of
just
it?
maybe a little bit more intensive and real life storylines to go along with
Yeah, but
stuff.
you could do that without having to say bitch on TV.
Oh
They've
no,
been
you
doing it.
can.
They've been doing it now. They've been doing it as of what, for years. So it's like,
Right.
so that's why, and it's like the point I made when this whole thing was announced, where I almost feel that the announcement of this PG-14 rating was because the company had so much bad heat against them because of what happened with what was going on with Vince and the investigation, that it's almost like, hey, let's throw this out there. Yes, maybe it's an idea that they had. Let's throw this out there. Let's try to detract and get rid of the negative, the heat that we have against the company now because of what Vince is saying, and let's have
Right.
people talk about something else. You know what I mean? That's why I think it was more of a deterrent as opposed to saying, "Hey guys, we're changing." You know,
Right.
that's I
And
could be wrong, but I just like in a corporate, if you look at it in a corporate structure, obviously, if we all ran a company and we had negative press about us, aren't you going to try to find a way to detract that?
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. F4F. What's F4F? I don't know if this guy's a troll or not, technically. Yeah. Okay. Either way, I'll just put him up just in case because it's just a hashtag. It's just an emoji. Yeah, and I mean we'll see because I think they could still make more storylines for adults. Bam. Thank you for the support. We'll see. I think it doesn't necessarily have to be a language thing. I think it could also be
concepts.
I think it could also just be concepts, just a little bit more blading, a little bit more bleeding, a little bit more weapon using kind of thing within certain matches, more no DQs, more no fall counts anywheres, count anywhere kind of thing. I don't necessarily think that, it would need to be, I don't think it would necessarily just need to be just swearing all the time because AEW, unless specific moments where it would work good for a certain storyline, bam, because, you are an asshole. Whatever.
Because AEW does it, but they do it in a calculated way where it's not just for the sake of saying shit on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the way I think it. So I think some people have to just calm down a little bit.
Slow your roll, and it's a mix between PG-14 with Vince McMahon, and now everyone was behind Triple H, so they're thinking of NXT. And look, I think Triple H will do fantastic. I really do think that, and I'm just not going to go and jump on. SummerSlam wasn't that great of a pay-per-view. It wasn't the best pay-per-view of the year for a WWE standard, even.
But it's a new beginning, though. It's a new beginning.
It's a new beginning. It's a new
era.
It's the Triple H era. Look, and that's not discrediting Triple H. A lot of that was maybe written before Trips could even do anything. Heck, it was Friday. You know what I mean? So, this is not me discrediting Triple H on anything that he can do and what he can come up with. We saw Raw. Well, Raw was a bit different, for sure. We saw a lot more wrestling on Raw than we usually would. It didn't start with a promo. Well, it did technically with Becky, but then it wasn't like a 15-minute promo sort of ordeal.
Yeah.
And oh my God. So I didn't realize you can just make the US Championship in one day, make it look like it is one of the top tier titles aside from the, world title. So those matches to me were fucking fire. Loved that Mustafa Ali was utilized the way that he was. That Styles clash. Oh my God. Perfect. Fire. I really enjoyed Raw just as a wrestling aspect of it. And I think it is going towards the right direction. Ciampa, great wrestler. We saw him in NXT do so much. He will now face Bobby Lashley. Curious to how that will go, given the complete size difference and just total different wrestling.
Yeah, the dynamic is different. Yeah.
The dynamic is very different. So that should be very interesting. And look, Raw was probably a pretty good Raw that, probably one of the best Raws I've seen maybe in the last 2-3 months, if not more. You know what I mean? So certainly going into a right direction, but I'm not going to go. I've been burned too much by WWE to, just go, oh my God, let's go. You know what I mean? Great. You're on the right track. Let's keep going. Let's pull it forward.
Don't jump on the bandwagon too soon.
And look, and marks don't know that they're marks, and that's what they'll do. And they, do what you want, great. And then you can be one of those, oh, look, I told you guys. But then if it falls flat on your face, you're going to be miserable again. I'm happy where it's going. Yeah. It's just.
Yeah. Look, you want to give Triple H credit for so far, but you want to give him credit for, and people like to think that, oh, he's going to do great just because NXT was great when he was running it. Well,
Right.
how great was it because they were still losing to AEW, regardless when
Right.
AEW started, okay? It was good. There was some back and forth, but they were still losing. This is while he was still in charge, okay? So it's like that's why
Barely though, technically. No.
no, it wasn't crazy. I mean, there wasn't a huge uh this like difference in the ratings, but regardless, you're
Mhm.
coming up against an upstart. Now, granted you could say the same thing about NXT, but NXT has a WWE name attached to it, so everyone is going to think that, oh my god, this is going to be great, okay? And for the
Right.
most part, it had some great matches. I'm not going to say otherwise,
Right.
but it's just that I think, you know, let's judge him leading up to next WrestleMania.
That's fair.
It's
I
like
think it's a bit long, but that's fair.
no, because listen, at the end of the day, the success of the company is mainly based on where they've gone leading up to the next WrestleMania, right? Because
Right. Yeah.
that's their biggest show of the year, right? And if you're gonna do a 2 night
Exactly.
show again, that's
Mhm.
that's what it's always been. It's always been like that. It's always like the success of the company is based on how is that WrestleMania received, you know?
Right.
And I just think it's just a little too early. Now, let's go back to like you said, Raw being a good show. They would have shot themselves in the foot if Raw was shit.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Any of the good press you would have gotten about SummerSlam would have been thrown right out the window. Is if your live
Right.
television show 2 days after is complete garbage.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And
so they
USA
kind of
giving
yeah.
commercial free too was kind of telling you something. I thought that was just a rumor, but then I'm like, oh shit, there legit is no commercials on the first hour.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But that's
you
nothing.
really
That's
had to
nothing
go
new
out with a
though.
bang.
That's nothing new though. They used to do that with a lot. They used to do that back in the day. So I don't think
Did
that's
they?
anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe not for an entire hour, but I don't think it's anything new. So look. If I want to give my final point on this, not to let it drag on too much,
Right.
it was an okay pay per view at best. I'll
Yeah.
say that it was fine. It was watchable, you know, but at the same time, it's like let's get to next April, and let's see where you are, because then after, if it's relatively mediocre throughout the entire year leading up to next WrestleMania, and we all know that WrestleMania there might be a return of some sorts. There's gonna be someone that does a crazy high spot, which is what you would
Right.
expect, right? Because that's
Right.
what you have to. That's what always sells WrestleMania. If the rest of the year is mediocre, then it's almost like, well, how smart and how great of a creative mind is Triple H? Because now he's head of creative now. People have to
Right.
answer to him.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying let's wait until Mania, because it's giving you enough time to produce Raw, SmackDown, and NXT.
Hmm.
Let's see how those lead up and how other subsequent pay-per-views before WrestleMania,
Right.
and we'll just wait. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, and that's fair. And it's too early, guys. Just calm down.
Yeah.
Like
Big Red.
we there.
Sorry.
Yeah. Technically, some crazy one was part of that too. He was a bit too over anxious. Yeah, and look, I'm excited though, and I think we'll even see what Trips can do for NXT when NXT goes against All Out on Sunday on September 4th.
Okay,
Um,
they're back to back. They're at the same night.
they're at the same night, so pay-per-view. If that's, I think that's still going on. Yeah. So September 4th, NXT Takeover versus All Out.
Hmm.
So we will see what happens. I probably will be watching All Out first of all, because I feel like there's just so much there already that I'm gonna want to be there for.
Sure.
And yeah, and that's pretty much it. Just wait. It was the okayest pay-per-view. It's certainly better than, I don't know, the last maybe 2 pay-per-views from WWE. Maybe I'll take that. But wasn't as good as Mania. It was definitely better than Elimination Chamber.
Well,
You
it
know,
has to have some kind of a high standard to a degree because it is at the end of the day one of your big three.
right.
You know what I mean?
It might have been better than Royal Rumble.
No,
If
but I
that's
mean,
just
it's like it's almost like people could, you can give a pass to all the other shitty ones because it's the big three that really matter.
right,
WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and SummerSlam, right? Oh,
right,
sorry, the four Survivor Series. If you
right.
really want to still include Survivor Series in there, but it's part of your big four of the year.
Right.
So if
Yeah. So as a SummerSlam, I love the stadium. I thought the stadium was nice and all that. Being outside, that was cool. But I mean, that doesn't help your product necessarily. But yeah, it was a decent pay-per-view. Now, not like there was necessarily any bad matches. There was just, but again, this is still Vince's booking. So again, just wait, guys. Things might change. Just don't get overhyped. Just let it go. Let it be there. I know you want to go and love it again, but if you love too easily, you can just as easily get your heart broken. Calm down, relax, let it just go. Don't overhype things, and yeah, just let him do what he does. Because then if people push too much, fans are going crazy, and then I don't know if Triple H is randomly listening and whatever, he's like, oh well, I'm doing a great job, might get a freaking ego. It's exactly what happened to Ronda Rousey. People were pushing Ronda, go Ronda, Ronda's the best, baddest woman on the planet, blah, blah, blah. I think only WWE used that. And then what did she do? She fucking got all that pressure on her, she fucking lost, and then she fucking bounced.
Yeah.
Totally different context, but still kind of thing. Don't give him that ego yet. Yes, he's a great mind and so on and so forth.
Oh, we don't know. We don't know that. We don't know that.
I mean, we know that a little with how we did NXT. Okay, with what he did with NXT is a pretty good accomplishment. Keep in mind, I'm talking NXT from like 2016 to 2021.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With what he did with NXT there, pretty good. The black and gold, we are NXT, building the Ciampas, the Adam Coles of the world, and all that. Yeah. So, I have faith in him, but we have to wait. It's just an emoji. But I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But thank you for being there. And yeah, so I don't know what else to say aside from just let it go, let it take its course, let it progress without you freaking overhyping every little decision that he makes. The only person I can say that can do that, and I'll be forever entertained, is Michael Cole. Because Michael Cole seems like he just got off his leash and he's a kid again.
And I found, you see, it's a good thing you bring up the announcers. I found that they kind of undersold a lot what happened during the pay-per-view. Like Edge's return. Like I found that, like, okay, if people would have known on the internet or if he would have announced it himself, fine. But I find if you look at the way, let's say, Jim Ross would call something, because at the end of it's an announcer's job to sell what's going on screen.
I think they did announce it, though. I think they announced it on the pre-show. Because someone had mentioned that. I didn't watch. I'd have never watched the pre-show because I don't want to see an hour of talking.
At the end of the day,
be a bit more eccentric. Yeah,
it's the announcer's job to sell what's on screen, right? What's going on. And when it seemed, I don't know, I found that it was extremely unenthusiastic. It's almost like, Edge is here. Like very like, okay, let's go on. He's here, Very, it's like almost like he no-sold the fact that Edge was there. Like there was no enthusiasm behind the announcement. So I'm surprised. I was a little shocked. I thought they would have put a little bit more energy into that. Especially when the crowd went crazy, so sell it.
The crowd went crazy. So sell it.
That's what I don't understand. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know, maybe they were kind of shocked by it too, in the sense that maybe they didn't know. They probably knew. No, they definitely would know. Because I know some promoters, but I know some promoters like to get the commentators' initial reactions for that surprise.
Yeah, but WWE's not like that.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
No. I think everything is so calculated. So
that's fair. Well, that's why they're $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fair. But Michael Cole went apeshit during Brock Lesnar's tractor ring fucking lift up.
He had to. He had to. How are you gonna that happens and you have to sell that. If you don't, then you're a shitty announcer.
Yeah. No, exactly. It just felt that like Michael Cole though just sounds just more alive. You know, he sounds. If you go back to when Vince McMahon was doing the Attitude Era and he was commentating and he mentions everything 5,000 times, my friend had mentioned this to me that literally that's what Michael Cole did for the longest time too, always mentioning kind of just so you can get it in your head, because that's what Vince did back in the day. And I'm like, oh shit. So Vince McMahon was literally just living vicariously through Michael Cole without being on commentating. And I guess we kind of knew that with how controlling Vince was, but just hindsight going back to watching that and then realizing what Michael Cole did and then watching Michael Cole during SummerSlam, it felt like a newer person in that regard. He's still a goofball, but it just felt like he was a more energetic goofball. You know what I mean? So,
all right.
Yeah. Again, we'll see. We'll see. But the Edge, I will have to look back at the Edge. I did feel like there wasn't a crazy, like, oh my God moment too, though. I remember the fans popping.
I think there should have been, because they would have known that they would have gotten a crazy crowd reaction. So wouldn't it have added to that reaction from the crowd if the announcers lent that same enthusiasm, or just as somewhat enthusiastic towards the way the crowd was reacting? Kind of play off of that, the crowd feedback, as opposed to saying, it's Edge, he's here, rated R superstar. It's like, fuck, sell the fact that he's coming back. I mean, I don't know.
Like, oh my God, it's Edge! It's Edge! The rated R superstar!
But hold on, though. See, that sounds like something like JR would do. Now, why would JR would do it? Because JR knows how to sell.
Right. Facts. Oh no, it's a JLB podcast. I watched some of it. Help me. Mr. Cash, how goes it? It's not Wrestling Talk Now, not the JLB podcast. JLB doesn't have a podcast, except it's Real Talk Radio. One job. Yeah, no. So, I mean, I think also a lot of the commentators are kind of slowly getting back to how they have to react now, right? Because they were, for the longest time, they were like, okay, we have to follow Vince's rules and whatever have you. So they were controlled to a certain extent. And now that that's been lifted, I think it's maybe going to take a lot more. It's like you're almost restarting again, right? So now you have to find yourself, because especially for Michael Cole, at least, because you have to find yourself again to be that energetic and so on and so forth. Because with a lot of shit that people have talked about with Vince McMahon, saying that, like, the guy barely even knew the people's names and anything like that. And then even the editors would have to re-script what he said because he would not follow his own rules of certain words that were banned and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the guy seemed like a crazy control freak, which understandably so. It was his company and whatever, and he was a workhorse. But ultimately, it also sounded like he was dealing with, I don't know, like he wasn't necessarily all there anymore, whether that's old age, working too much,
out of touch, maybe.
Out of touch, dementia a tad, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know necessarily, but working yourself that hard for that long is going to cause some kind of burnout mixed with being out of touch. And, it's just not a good combination. And that's what accumulated to the WWE we have today. So,
yeah, what I'm interested to seeing is how the dynamic of Stephanie and Nick Khan is going to work out.
That is going to be an interesting one. And exactly.
Because is that going to affect creative? It could be, very well. I mean, Triple H might be head of creative, but at the end of the day, okay, fine, his wife is CEO, but there has
Co-CEO.
co-CEO. So there's gonna have to be, if one of them doesn't agree with something, then what happens? Then you have an internal struggle, a power struggle,
Right.
which is not a good thing, right?
Which will be interesting to see how that would work out.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Um,
I'm more intrigued on that long term because
mhm.
you have to give it some time. You have no choice. This
Right.
whole process. That's why, like I know you said that Mania might be a little bit too long, but you have kind of no choice to give it a little bit of time, maybe 6 months to a year to see, is this really a quote unquote new era, or is it just going to be a little bit more of a polished version of Vince's WWE? You know what I mean? Because that's what
Right.
it could
Well,
it could end up being like that. It could be maybe just a little bit polished, maybe a little change here, a little change there, because you don't want to disturb.
Well,
You
I
don't
mean,
want to
and these
disturb
changes
what's
are
in
going to
place.
happen casually, anyways, right? Like it
Yeah,
can't just be instant change. It's impossible for a company to do something for so long a certain way and then, within a 2 weeks' time, completely be different. Sure, we're noticing different changes. Um, but yeah, I do agree. And especially for the communication breakdown factor between the two co CEOs and the creative booker and so on, how that dynamic rather is going to work. So it's going to definitely take some time.
because another
Yeah,
thing, just to get a little point, one last point I want to put on this, and we should move on to something else.
probably. Yep.
The Having the co-CEO thing, I think, in my opinion, in the long run, would be detrimental to Stephanie and Triple H, and this is why. Because especially if there is a power struggle, which I wouldn't be surprised in, you know, to a certain degree, there'll be disagreements.
Right.
But if Nick Khan is able to swerve, and I'm sure he would doing that because he's done a pretty good job so far since he's been there. But if you're able to swerve the board of directors on your side to where, regardless of whether there's co CEOs and they're going to side with Nick Khan, if the company is one day going to be sold, guess what's going to happen to Triple H and Stephanie?
Yeah. Bye bye.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure. And he was able to do so much under Vince, right? But Vince in reality was thinking, okay, I just want more money, 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 right? He thought
Which is
of it,
what Nick Khan did. Yeah.
which is what Nick Khan did. And Nick Khan was almost Vince McMahon anyways, right? And Vince let him do that because Vince is like, listen, Khan, what are you doing? Is it going to make me more money? Yeah. Okay, go. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To do
Exactly.
whatever, decide whatever you want, as long as I'm getting more money out of it, no problem. You do you,
Exactly.
boo boo. So
I don't know if he
um,
said that, but
pal, you do you, pal.
yeah,
Okay.
that sounds about right. I don't know if Mr. Van would say, "You do you, boo boo."
You do you, boo boo. You don't know, he might. Maybe to one of his other.
All right. Let's not give too much more attention to the marks out
No,
there.
no. Let's not mark off. Yeah. Aside from that, we do, in terms of rumor wise, though, we do have potentially rumors have been, it's getting even like more not a rumor anymore, to the point that Sasha and Naomi might in fact be coming back to the WWE.
Mm.
Still not entirely confirmed by the WWE, but a lot of reports are now saying that they are in talks, and then it looks like the only thing that's missing is for the announcement. And I guess that would make sense with Sasha. Well, now for Naomi especially, would make complete sense. But a lot of the issues they were having were with Vince McMahon and creative. So if Vince is out of the picture, Triple H obviously has a good rapport with both women, and Sasha Banks being, part of NXT back in the day, and Triple H really pushing for her, and Steph really pushing for the women's revolution and all that. Sasha has a very close relationship with Trips. So I would definitely see them coming back, and would be a good move for WWE, honestly, to especially get Sasha back. Naomi
I
would just be icing on the
Yeah.
cake, I guess.
I think for Sasha, I think she's almost done as much as she can. to where if she kind of branched out and went to somewhere like the AEW and kind of made her name even bigger than what it is, because
Right.
there'll be more eyes on her in AEW than if she would have came back to WWE. Because it's like, holy shit,
That's right.
Sasha Banks left. Oh my God, what's she
Right.
doing? What's she up to? You know what I mean?
Right.
So those questions are gonna put eyes on her, which is gonna make, guess
Right.
what? AEW more money, and it's gonna make her more money. So
Hopefully.
if well, you would think so. I mean, but so that's why I think almost like for personally, I think it would be better for her if she branched out and kind of like, maybe tested the waters elsewhere. See how strong her name is elsewhere, as opposed to just saying, "Oh, hey, Sasha Banks is back. Yay, okay. What next? What now?"
Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure too. I think she's done everything she could with WWE,
Yeah, which is a good thing. It's
which
not.
is
It's
great.
not. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I think she was probably the biggest driving force behind the women's, whatever you want to call the women's revolution in WWE.
Mhm.
Um, because yeah, she was a great performer, good promo. She probably sold a shitload of merch too with a
Yep.
lot of kids. So it's almost like, okay, what do you do now? You bring her back. Okay, make her feud with someone she's never feuded with. Okay, who? That people are gonna give a shit. Who are you gonna make her feud with?
Right.
You're gonna have her feud with Bailey again. Okay,
Been
been there, done that.
there, done that. Yeah,
You
Flair,
know,
been there, done that.
yeah.
Like
So that's why I think for her, if AEW would be smart, they should throw a little bit more money towards her to try to get her to go. And if like I said, I think it would be good for her to kind of see how she could branch out elsewhere.
I do think, yeah, I do agree that there would be a lot more eyes on her though. I think
Yeah,
that would be no doubt a thing. And just she has everything, the um actress in Mandalorian, Snoop Dogg's cousin. She has a lot of stuff, and she's kind of everyone kind of knows, legit boss time kind of thing. She's really been out there already to the point where people would maybe recognize if you say name the 10 women wrestlers, I think the boss,
sure.
Sasha Banks, would
Yeah,
be known.
because
Even if you're not a legitimate fan, like you don't watch all the time, I think you would know Sasha Banks.
yeah, you have to. And another thing too, for her to kind of stay relevant in WWE, you can't change her gimmick. She has to be the same boss.
Right.
You can't change that.
Right.
Because that's what brought her to the dance. If okay, sometimes people could say, well, if you change it, like look at Bailey, it worked for Bailey, but that was a different dynamic. That was a different case. And
Right.
really, it was just a transition of turning Bailey heel or face. Whereas with Sasha Banks, that character, that boss character, works both heel or face. So if you change her, it's almost like it might not be a good thing for her. And if you bring her back and it's the same thing again, it's okay. Seen that.
Been there, done that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've seen how you are. I mean, unless maybe she turns heel. We haven't seen her be heel for a while.
No, but the
Um,
character, the boss
but yeah,
character, it works heel or face, regardless.
right.
She doesn't really change much whether she's a heel or face
Right.
under that character, which is
Yeah.
good. Which is fine, and that's
Right.
great. You're not having to really change much of the dynamic, because really to bring her back and to really make an impact where she comes back, it's almost like you'd have to change her character a little bit,
Yeah.
which that's my opinion. But I
Mhm.
think it makes more sense that if you want to keep that hype train of Sasha Banks going along, you have to keep her as is. But how much hype is there really going to be, and for how long?
Right.
People might get excited that she came back, and it's kind of like, all right, let's,
Yeah, it's gonna be like a month thing, and then that's it.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and with that, and I mean, Tony Khan's gonna have a lot to do now too. You know what I mean? It's no longer, hey guys, you don't want to go to WWE because Vince is in control there. You'll be miserable. He can't necessarily use that anymore for when it comes to negotiation contracts, just because Triple H is really good with communicating with his talent, right? A lot of people loved Triple H. Adam Cole was a really huge fan of Triple H, and so on, and da 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 da. So it would also be interesting to see how Tony Khan now markets himself or to his wrestlers for negotiating a new contract, because it's no longer like, well, you're not going to go there. They might give you more money, but you'll be miserable. You won't wrestle. You won't be in a good storyline. You know, that I think was one of the things that maybe helped Tony Khan with some negotiations, just because of the morale of a lot of wrestlers. So it would also be interesting to see how Tony Khan does deal with that, which, by the way, there was an announcement that Tony Khan has added more people to his talent relations team.
Staff, which is good.
Which is good because, you know, you're too big now. You can't just have one guy help you out, which was Christopher Daniels. Now Sanjay Dutt and I think 2 other people were part of the staff for talent relations.
But here's another thing I want to add to that quick is that no matter, you know, this change that's going on in WWE, does it really mean that wrestlers are going to have more creativity? Because if it's just going to be, hey, here's your script, follow it with a little bit of change here now and then, that creativity doesn't change. So that's what AEW's advantage is that the wrestlers have a little bit more freedom to express themselves and with creativity.
Well, I mean, only time will tell on that, but based on what Triple H would say, you know, guys, listen, I want everything to be completely transparent. If you do have anything, please come to me. You know, he is, and this is the head of the head of creative talking, right? It's not a CEO where it's just that regular, like, my door is always open. It's the head of creative telling you that. And he's also talent relations. So he has the 2 caps on in that regard.
We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see how he's able to deal with that job too.
Right.
You know, as creative of a mind as he may be, now he's in charge of all the creative. So
yeah,
that's a different step.
I almost feel like Paul Heyman will be in that picture too, though. He'll get Paul in there to maybe help out a bit. As well. And, you know, he's I would even say, you know, maybe try to get Bray as part of your wrestling team staff instead of opposed to a wrestler. You want people who have creative mindsets and know the business, and Rotunda being a third generation superstar, second generation superstar. I think, you know, you kind of want those kind of people. And we've seen, obviously, him be creative with the Wyatt family and Funhouse and whatever else have you, The Fiend, obviously. So because you can't do it alone in that regard. And that's kind of was Triple H's whole spiel. It's not just me. I want to be more open. Come talk to me if you have any ideas. And he has to go complete opposite of Vince. He obviously knows what Vince was doing. He knows it can't just be a one-man show. So again, it's more of a we'll wait and see. But it's definitely going to be interesting to watch either way. And I guess will not be interesting to see the marks keep marking out off every little change. But you know,
new era's here.
Territory. New era. Yeah, it wasn't me who posted that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I guess, did you watch Dynamite?
Yep. Yeah, I think it was a solid show. You know, the matches are, you know, it's you know, we've discussed this many times. You know, sometimes you'll have a hit and miss with Dynamite, but you know, when the card is booked properly and storylines go the way they're supposed to, you're gonna have a good show. You're gonna have one show that was compelling to watch, definitely. I'm kind of not surprised of the heel turn, not the heel turn. Well, I guess the turn on the Young Bucks. I kind of expected that to happen. I'm a little surprised that it took as long as it did.
That's why I guess maybe I wasn't expecting it though.
No, but I think because I wasn't expecting. I knew it was going to happen eventually, But I think the fact that it took so long to happen, I was kind of like, okay, maybe it might not, you know.
Mhm.
But I think as Adam Cole is giving his promo, you kind of got the feel that maybe something's gonna happen here,
Right.
which is good. You're leading into this trios tag team tournament with those belts there, so it would make sense to have the Elite against the Undisputed Era.
Which maybe sounds like might not be a thing because Adam Cole apparently isn't ready to wrestle yet. Now he just announced that like
No,
that.
but
I
at
think
least
when he kind of
in the long run, like that would make sense. That feud would be both
right,
factions. You know what I mean? Maybe
right,
not right now, not immediately. We'll see how the whole thing kicks off and who gets
right.
crowned the first AEW.
And that is only happening. So that tournament is only happening at All Out, technically. Like it's only
I think
starting
so.
at All
Yeah, I
Out.
think it's starting at All Out. Yeah.
Okay, no one's being crowned at All Out.
Well, you never know. It might change. Maybe they'll have like eliminator matches throughout the Dynamite leading up to
Dynamite and
All Out.
Rampage. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It would make sense to have to crown it.
At
Kind of
All
like what
Out.
they,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of like what they did with the All Atlantic belt. And then that's another thing too. I like what they're doing with that. Kind of like,
It's
even
not on
though,
our show. He's everywhere
yeah,
else kind of thing, but
yeah,
here's the
that's
footage
cool.
for it. Yeah.
It's cool. I
Yeah.
like it because you see it a lot on Dark. His matches that he wrestles overseas are on Dark a lot. So
Oh,
that's pretty
okay.
cool. Yeah, so that's cool. But overall, I mean, I thought Dynamite was really good. I have no complaints about it. It was a good show.
Good show. Yeah, I really enjoyed Orange Cassidy and Jay Lethal. I thought that match was really fun to watch. Dumpster match was also pretty fun too. The homage to the New Age Outlaws,
Right.
with the stuff they were wearing, and then of course the throwing in the
The
throwing the
dumpster.
dumpster off the stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty fun. Pretty fun.
It's fun. Well, you mentioned Orange Cassidy. I think now you're starting to see, even though every match he had was always really really good, but I think you're starting to see a little bit of a change in his character. Maybe just the way he acts in ring. Maybe he's a little bit more aggressive. It's maybe a little bit less that lazy act that he does. He still does it, obviously, because that's what
Mhm.
gets a pop. But I
Right.
feel that it's a little bit more intensity in his character, and he kind of because AEW, for those who may not know, AEW is actually represented at the Comic-Con this year, the San Diego show.
Right.
And they had a lot of Q&As with some members of the media and stuff like that. Like Britt
Mhm.
and Orange Cassidy were together,
Right.
and we had some kind of Jericho was there too, and you actually
CM Punk as well, no?
CM Punk and what's her name, Jade Cargill, were kind of like on the same, like fielding questions and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
And hearing Orange Cassidy actually speak was kind of like almost he's maybe taking his character a little bit more seriously, you know, and you can kind of see it. It's starting to slowly change a little bit. He shouldn't go full blown that he completely
Yeah,
ditches
I don't think he's
does go
going
lazy.
to.
No, no,
Right.
no, and that's fine because that's what his
That's
appeal
what made
is.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, but if he adds a little bit more intensity, if you look at his matches, like the match he had against Will Ospreay, my God,
Right. Yeah.
you know,
I'm like, a lazy guy wouldn't perform that much. That's crazy. Yeah,
yeah,
he's kind of, but he's been slowly doing that though, I feel too. Yeah,
yeah,
which I really enjoy the slow pace of that because you can't full blown him. All right, guys, I'm no longer lazy. I'm a hardworking son of a bitch that's going to put on a great match every single time. No, I'm still going to go see my fans and, just give them a little tap.
yeah. What's cool with him is that he's able to kind of bring the crowd up and down within the same match,
Right.
and there's not a
Yeah.
lot of wrestlers that can do that and pull it off as well as he
Yeah.
does. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. That's and that tag match too. This is the first time I've noticed Jamie Hayter being so good in the ring. Maybe
really?
that's just a me thing. I don't know. Like this is the first time I really noticed her full-fledged on that she was doing a lot, especially in a tag match maybe. But I really felt she her and Britt together were fantastic. So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know if
yeah.
I just wasn't paying attention to her before and whatever, but this is one that really got me noticing her a lot, and I was impressed. So I
Sure.
was
Yeah.
really excited by that.
No,
I guess
I've
by the
watched
sound
her.
of it,
Yeah. No,
I'm
go ahead.
missing. I've been missing something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just I think she's had some really good singles matches too. I mean, the one that she had against Tony Storm during the Owen Hart the Owen Hart Classic.
Oh shit! Yes. Okay, that was a Fuego
My God,
match.
that
Yeah.
was awesome. That
Yeah.
was very good match. Uh, and it's good. I mean, it's good that Jamie Hayter really shows what she can do, and a lot of the other females too. Because I'm still gonna take AEW's women's division over WWE's anytime. And I think if the women are able to really show what they can do, if AEW would ever do an all women show, I think it would be very good to watch from start to finish. Like I think WWE did it right a few years ago.
Evolution. Yep.
Evolution, yeah, and you had some matches
Or
that were good, but
Revolution.
whichever, yeah,
Probably
it doesn't,
Revolution.
yeah, but it was somewhat forgettable. You might have had some memorable moments with the bigger names, but I mean, if AEW's women tend to like be able to be really good workers, they have a really good support staff. Like Dustin Rhodes works a lot with the women.
Right.
Um, you know, you have someone like Vicky Guerrero, even though she's not a wrestler, but just to give that kind of pep talk or kind of
She has a knowledge, a lot of knowledge in the
Well, of,
business.
of course, yeah. Like it kind
Uh,
of give that little enthusiasm, maybe that some of the women need. Maybe they're giving them a little
mhm.
kick. That's it. They have a really good support staff, AEW, and you have to applaud Tony. Like you said earlier, he's kind of adding people to his staff, maybe to kind of help
Right.
out with creative and talent relations sort of things. So to have
Right.
as far as the women are concerned, it's growing and growing, and you can see that it's heading in the right direction.
Yeah. And it's been a slow build, but it's getting there. It's
Yeah,
getting there. And yeah, really, honestly, no complaints. So Jericho is going to be the one facing Moxley next week.
right.
Um, that should be fun as well. Um, that was also a fantastic match. I can't wait to really see Jericho's full-fledged Lionheart gimmick. He pulled some of his little old school moves with the lion timber and the moonsault from the middle of the rope there.
Right.
So yeah, I really have no complaints with what Dynamite did. But alluding to that women's pay-per-view might not be too far in the future because AEW has trademark All Elite Women, which might be rumored for either a show, like
TV show.
like a TV show kind of thing, like reality show, or that might potentially be a name for a pay-per-view. Which
Yeah,
All Elite Women does not sound like a great name, but I mean, maybe that might be what they're going to call them now instead of, I think it was Heels, All Elite Heels or something. But I
yeah,
think
but
that's just their
yeah,
social
yeah, that was like
women
more
network
yeah
or
they
whatever.
had like kind of like a reality show kind of tied into that a little bit.
Oh, they did.
Maybe
Okay.
maybe not like a full fledged like not like Total Divas kind of thing,
Okay.
but they had something like that. Like there was a lot of events where women were a part of certain things, like a lot of social events that were tied around the All Elite the heels,
Okay.
the heels like name.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, if they've trademarked that, that's interesting to see where they're gonna go with that. It could be a show. I would I don't think I would think you should do a pay-per-view first to see how it will go, because I think to throw it down people's throats right away and say here's about an hour or two of just women's wrestling might not be received as well. Whereas if you give them a pay-per-view and that's well
Right.
received leading into maybe about an hour program, that could be better.
And an hour program might be the way to go for that too. A little rampage style kind
Yeah.
of just for women. I think that's what AEW kind of needs because there's so much on AEW. right?
You can do it once a
Like,
month. I think once a month would be a good thing too,
oh yeah,
because you're not force feeding it down people's throats too much. You're giving
right.
it time to breathe, and you're giving it a time to grow. That if it really becomes something else, then maybe you can do it a weekly thing, or it could be a monthly thing. But I would do it monthly. Like have, let's say, maybe a monthly event dedicated to just the AEW women. Yeah.
Battle of the Belts. Is it the third one or the fourth one?
I think it's the third. Not quite sure.
Because we'll be. Oh no, okay, it's 3. They already announced the fourth one though. Because that is coming up this Saturday, so I don't wanna. I want to make sure at least that I do mention it. That's where we will get Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter.
Okay.
Jay Lethal. Well, it's going to be Sanjay Dutt. No, Sanjay Dutt. It's going to be Claudio Castagnoli versus. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. Hey, this is a shitty.
Is this for Battle of the Belts?
This is for Battle Belts 3. Yeah. So it's Claudio Castagnoli versus. Why don't you just give me the. Yeah, Claudio Castagnoli will defend against Konosuke Takashita.
Oh, Take Shitta. Yeah, it's true. He's wrestling Take Shitta.
Take a shit, yeah. On
Yeah,
Saturday,
Shitta.
August 6th. Jay Lethal, along with Sanjay Dutt and Santam Singh, have been making. Yeah, so they're going to face off with the best. Oh, no. Wardlow. Nope. I'm just. They're just talking about other shit here.
Yeah, Wardlow against Jay Lethal.
Yes. So Wardlow versus Jay Lethal. And I think that's what's going to be your Battle of the Belts, which you'll have titles for everything. So you're going to have the ROH Championship.
That's not bad. Yeah,
That's
not bad.
probably one of their best Battle of the Belt cards out so far.
Yeah.
They did 2 before, but this Saturday, that sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Don't remember how Takeshita wrestles, but we'll certainly see. And it's kind of interesting because this will be his first chance at a U.S. championship in terms of a title in the U.S. kind of thing.
Well, didn't he wrestle against Moxley? I think he wrestled against
not
Moxley.
for the title though.
It was an interim belt. Yeah.
Was it for the title?
Yeah. On Dynamite.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, because they did a whole segment on like.
I'm fairly certain. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wrestled Moxley. Well, yeah, like shortly after.
Or maybe it's for ROH then. Maybe I kind of think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's.
No, he's a pretty good talent. Yeah, and I think having him, because I think in AEW he gets a little bit lost in the shuffle. So having him on ROH, maybe a little bit more would make sense. And I think having Claudio win the belt is a good way of kind of rebuilding the ROH name.
Yeah,
because
he's definitely not going to lose. That's for sure.
No, not right now. Not right now. But I don't see him being ROH champion for a very long time because I think he's eventually gonna be a little bit more full time with like heading towards an AEW match. I wouldn't be surprised him taking the belt off of Wardlow, the TNT title, eventually. I see that.
That would be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Will he be able to do the Cesaro swing though? Is my question.
Of course he can. He did it to the Great Khali. Come on.
Oh, that's fair.
But it'll be interesting to see. I think that's a good match in a lot of ways because how Claudio wrestles,
right?
And it would be a chance to see how good Wardlow really wrestles.
Yeah, because Wardlow's gonna have to step it up a notch.
You kind of got a little bit of that when he wrestled Orange Cassidy, a little bit,
or even Cody, but this was also way back when.
Yeah, but that was a steel cage match too, so
that's fair.
Yeah, so it's a little different. I mean, he could. It seems like he's given moments where he can go, that he can give you a good 10, 15-minute match that's solid, that's believable, that you can get behind. But he has to have a guy that is, maybe just as big as him, strong guy, that where it's believable, where it's just not another fucking squash match where it's powerbomb, 1, 2, 3. Okay,
Right.
I think AEW's problem that they're facing is that right now, and I think I might have mentioned this in the past show, he's getting the Goldberg push.
Yeah.
Let's not keep that too far because then people are eventually going to hate him, especially if he's just squashing people like the way Goldberg would.
Right. Well, I mean, again, and with the Orange Cassidy thing, when he actually put on a full-fledged match with Orange Cassidy, I think maybe they're gonna step away from that because I don't know how. I'm still pissed off of how do you squash Scorpio Sky the way that you did, but then you don't squash Orange Cassidy in that same manner. Sure, I get it. You want to protect Orange Cassidy; he's one of your pillars to an extent, but
Right.
for doing it to a really good wrestler like Scorpio Sky, although he's not given the time of day necessarily in AEWs, is a bit annoying to me. And hopefully they just stop with the squashes, period.
Yeah.
Ethan Page. I liked his segment, and I think he's definitely now going a different route. Using almost that Jonathan Gresham, like no one's paying attention to me. I am the best. I am the best. Starting with this why thing, got me wanting more. Like I really like Ethan Page. I remember him in Impact, and he's freaking phenomenal. But he never did anything necessarily in AEWs.
Was him saying that he had the tightest tits in the game? Was that something that really kind of drew you?
No, I just thought he was a good. I just thought he was a good wrestler. I didn't necessarily like his karate stuff segments there. They were funny, but a bit much, a bit over the top. But.
Well, you see, kind of going into what you said now and talking about Scorpio Sky, I think Scorpio Sky separating himself from that faction helps him.
Right.
It doesn't do him like it did good to kind of cement him as a decent heel because Dan Lambert was a great talker, I think Scorpio Sky was able to do a pretty good promo. Ethan Page does a good promo, but I think for him to really evolve, he kind of has to be on his own. He shouldn't really be in a tag team,
right?
Because if that tag team for that to work, they should have had a run with the belts. Just to see how that tag team, that dynamic worked. I mean, they're not bad
together. Who's the champions right now?
What's that?
Who's the champions right now?
Well, it's not FTR. Shit.
Yeah, it is FTR.
No, they're IWGP and ROH titles champions. Shit, who's AEW? Oh no, Swerve in Our Glory.
Oh shit! Okay,
I even forgot. Yeah, how could I forget? I remember seeing that. I love that match too. Yeah.
That was a great match. No, but they haven't done anything since, right? That wasn't last week. That was like 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago. But then they had, I think last week they had the celebration thing.
Oh, they're fighting on Rampage though, so there is that, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. I'm a little not disappointed, but I'm interested to see where they're going to go with Ricky Starks. It's obvious he's most likely going to turn face. After he got attacked 2 weeks ago.
I don't know, but I think Hobbs is face.
Oh, really? After he got attacked? After he attacked Ricky Starks?
Well, if you saw on Dynamite, though, right? So Hobbs beat some guy, whatever, squash match, Ren Simons or something, beat him. And then Ricky Starks came out and Hobbs just knocked him down. So I don't necessarily know. I almost figured that Hobbs would be the face, because Ricky Starks was talking trash about everything that he could do.
Yeah, but that could also be just like not your traditional face. But I mean, if you look at the way it was set up, he's pouring his heart out after he lost, know, and then all of a sudden, boom, he gets hit. So for Powerhouse Hobbs, for Will Hobbs to be
that is true,
the heel,
it
wouldn't make much sense. So yeah.
No, but you're right, because he was like, "Oh, it wasn't last year. It wasn't this year." Yeah. It sounds very like a face promo. That's fair.
But he did it in a way that was not cheesy, which I liked.
Right. Yeah. No. He's really. A lot of people loved him from the get-go, Starks. But again, this is one of those people I've kind of noticed where when he would get angry, his promos for me would stick out more. And so I really enjoy them now. And he's absolutely right. He's definitely, the future is now for him kind of thing. No John Cena pun intended. But
I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of a run between him and Hobbs against Swerve and Our Glory. I think those two
yeah,
tag teams are really, really good together.
they really mesh well. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very good. But I'm not disappointed. But I'm a little disappointed in that they split up. But at the end of the day, I like to see where Ricky goes from here, and Will
Eh,
Hobbs too.
And Hubs. I mean, and now that Team Taz is no longer a thing, that's done. He just
Pretty
announced
much,
it
yeah.
like that. So I'm kind of like, okay, you know what? That's perfect.
Yep.
We don't really. I don't know what that means for the FTW championship. Um,
I think
but
this is just a way to give Hook another little push. Kind of like what Ricky did. It was just to
well,
give him
he's
a
kind of
push.
already over though. You know what
Yeah,
I
but
mean?
you mean Hook?
Yeah, Hook.
He is, but I think Danhausen helped a lot with that too.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that
That's a fair
helped.
point.
I mean, Hook was over, yes. Like the whole handsome devil thing that they were giving that moniker to him.
Right.
The fact that he would say nothing in his promos, yeah. But I
The
think
fact that he would hook you in. Hmm, hmm,
yeah,
hmm.
Jesus Christ, oh my God, he's starting. I
The
thought it
whole
was
hook
just
and switch.
oh, shut up, fuck. Go sing in the shower again. But anyway,
All right.
so
I will.
um, yeah. I was gonna say, I lost my train of thought because you had to make a
Hook me
stupid
with your
comment.
best shot.
That's not even the lyrics, so be quiet.
I know it's hit me. It's hit me.
So anyway, the I think he was on the right track, but putting him with someone like Danhausen, and that's another guy too. And you look about it, and think about it. The guy does
When
the
you look about it,
little, yeah. No, that's what happens when I do a show only with you. I fuck up my words.
we were doing so
Yeah,
good, so good.
go search for peanuts as I try to get my train of thought back together. So he Danhausen's the kind of guy that does so little but gets so over,
Yeah,
and
like Orange
it's
Cassidy.
I,
Before everybody was now.
and more so. I think more so
Yeah.
than Orange Cassidy because he's just so over, and and he's a good worker. I mean, he's able to
Yeah.
put on good matches. I
Yeah.
mean, even the little matches that he's done in AEW, I think were really good.
Mhm.
He knows how to work, but just that whole persona works, and it's yes, it's a comedy thing, but it's not too
But it's not
like
cheesy. It's not too
it's
cheesy. It
it's not
works.
it's not our truth esque where it's
Oh,
just that it gets to a point where it's like, okay,
right.
I'm done with this shit, Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of hope because at the same time, I do think Danhausen can't be alone necessarily, though. I do think Danhausen with Orange Cassidy does work really well for them. They don't
Yeah.
it's not overly cheesy to have them both together. I thought
No.
their tag match was fun as hell. You know what I mean? So I do hope they do keep doing that somehow, although you're giving Orange Cassidy a push, but that's not to say that you can't just have him tag, you know what I mean? And maybe do stuff on Rampage or whatever for tag matches or whatever have you. Don't
Yeah.
need them for the titles yet because I don't see Swerve and Glory losing it anytime soon. But yeah, no, definitely pure entertainment gold there. And I would agree with you on that Hausen probably does less and still has that same pop that Orange Cassidy would have.
Just him coming out.
Yeah.
And that accent.
Just his expressions.
If you ever see, he actually because Danhausen's his actual last name, but the guy Donovan Danhausen does an interview with Chris Van Vliet where he's out of makeup and he's actually talking normal.
Oh,
and it's like you can kind of hear that little like screechy voice that he does.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it's an interesting thing. You should go check it out on YouTube. It's really, really cool to see him out of makeup. They kind of play it off as if Chris Van Vliet is using CG so that the makeup is off, but it's actually cool. Like to hear him talk about how he got into the business and so on and so forth. It's really cool. You should go check it out. And he was actually on Conan O'Brien's podcast, believe it or not. Because
oh, really?
Yeah, because Danhausen actually has credited a lot of his character based off of like Simpsons references, and Conan O'Brien, because Conan O'Brien used
Conan
to write.
O'Brien would always do that thing
He,
too,
he used to
right?
write.
He would
He
have
used
that
to
little
write for this.
voice.
Yeah, he used to write for the Simpsons too. So he's even said that
Oh
he
shit.
took a lot of influence for that Danhausen character off of things that he's watched on TV. So
Oh,
it's pretty cool. Yeah,
nice.
everyone should
Definitely.
go check.
If I remember, I'll definitely put that link in the doobly doos as well. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, the doobly doo.
Um, doobly doos. And I don't know if there's necessarily much anymore aside from because yeah, there really wasn't that much really big news. Obviously, we have more superstars talking about Vince retiring and so on. Um, Look, a lot of people that worked with Vince are basically saying that people that look, a lot of the fans are fools if you're praising the change, and that the guy is a workaholic and whatnot. And look, that's understandable. You know, we know him as fans. Whereas if you do work with the guy, you do learn to appreciate his work ethic in a different kind of manner. You know what I mean? You're not behind the scenes. You
Yeah,
don't know. We don't know, obviously. So totally different context. And a lot of people are just spazzing over that. Like, oh, why would they say it? Like, guys, you don't know anything. You think you know everything, but you don't know squat of what goes
yeah.
on in the back. You know?
No, he
Um,
he definitely deserves the credit. Obviously, a shit ton of credit for what he's accomplished. No doubt.
Absolutely.
Maybe not in the extent that Eric Bischoff gives, because I think Eric Bischoff would just blow Vince McMahon. Like if
Right.
you see some of the rants he's given against AEW and how great Vince is, and yes, Vince has been great, and
Mhm.
like even like kind of like what you alluded to too, like on Kevin Nash's podcast, because he has a podcast too now, and he does it with the guy who did the U shoots. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he does a podcast with Sean Oliver, and it's
That's
kind of
right.
like they basically both alluded to, yes, let's give him a shit ton of credit, but at the same time, we're not going to condone any form of sexual harassment that may have happened. Because
Right.
you have to still keep an open mind to that, because yes, innocent until proven
Well,
guilty, but
I mean, did happen though. He literally gave hush money for those specific
yeah,
reasons.
yeah, but I mean, I mean, obviously, there's been like sexual harassment, you know,
Right.
talk come out. Whether that's true or not is remains to be seen. We don't know the full story, but
Right.
I mean, I think you can't discredit what Vince has done. Absolutely not.
No, you can't.
No,
You
you can't.
can't. I mean, guys, at the end of the day, he's your whole reason for, well, him and obviously the writers and so on for your Attitude Era. Sure that WCW helped with that, with, NWO and beating them in the ratings, but Vince still took. That's everyone's whole like looking back at the golden era of WWE. You know what I mean?
And,
So,
and one
uh,
thing you have to give him credit for too is that it seemed like even during bad times, he took the heat for it. He didn't try to throw the heat on anybody else, because he was the figurehead of the company. It's almost like he took that brunt, and that's another credit you have to give him to, without a doubt.
yeah, and I think, and that's why I think he's such a controlling person though, because
Right.
he wants to be able to take the responsibility of it going wrong just as well as the responsibility of it going right. I think that's just something that was within him as a growing up, and that's how what he likes to do. If
Yeah.
this works, it's on me. If it doesn't work, it's on me. Either
Right.
way, though, ego and whatever have you, and narcissism and so on can get to someone. And it's mixed with a whole combination of other things that aren't good moral traits. So,
Right.
that's just him. But for sure, happy he's gone. Respect him for what he's done for the company. And that's literally what you get
Yeah.
with a lot of his staff members talking about that. But I mean, in reality, I don't think there's really biggest news was just more Ric Flair is still like alive. He's doing well.
Yeah.
Naomi and Sasha potentially might be coming back. Um, yeah, that's really kind of there wasn't necessarily anything
It's almost like
overly huge.
there was a lot that happened in the past week, but not
past 3 weeks.
crazy
Really.
newsworthy. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's it, right? There's no Vince McMahon is retiring news, right? I don't think we're gonna get something like that
Yeah.
unless
Unless something else, unless let's say any investigation comes out, and there's new information about the allegations
right.
that's really newsworthy. Because other than
Mhm.
that, it's like he retired. Okay, let's not harp on this for forever.
Right. Exactly. And yeah, so Sasha Banks and Naomi are going to be at Chicago's Comic-Con this week
Oh,
as well. So you'll, for those of you in the Chicago area going to that should be pretty fun. Maybe we'll know more by then. If she talks to a fan or something, or she does an interview with someone, will she be coming back to WWE? We'll definitely keep all of you guys posted.
and the doobly
Pretty much
doos.
in the down below in the doobly doos, exactly. I guess this is where we turn the lights off. Don't make a sexual joke. I feel like it was coming. Where can they follow you, though? Good
Well,
sir.
let's
Only on
not
social
forget.
media.
Yes, very important. You can follow me on Twitch at Jeff_9783 and on Twitter at Jeff9783. I talk about a different on Twitch. I don't
Oh,
really stream very much, but I'll stream some games that I'm playing on various consoles. Yeah. What did you want to add? Yes.
speaking of games,
Yes.
the trailer for AEW Fight Forever has been released,
Yes.
and you can now pre-order it. I feel like not in Canada yet, but you can now pre-order it in the States as well as in the UK. There's no date yet, so maybe that's why there's nothing in Canada, because you can only put it on your wish list here. But trailer has been released. If you go to THQ Nordic, I believe it is .com.
Yeah.
Nordic? What is it?
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Why? How do you pronounce it?
No, it's just the way you said it. You emphasized the dick
The
part.
dick?
Yeah.
Nordic. It's done. THQ's website. Those links might be down below in the doobly doos as well, where you can find out all the information of the match types. There will be a barbed wire match. Hopefully, it's better than the one that we saw.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a bigger explosion.
Maybe, hopefully.
Yes.
And there's going to be a lot of emphasis on co-op, online co-op as well.
That's cool.
Sounds pretty interesting. We might even maybe do something on the Real Talk for that. Talk about that, because I think there's also a video game thing coming up soon too, or whatever. We'll see. And yeah, so AEW Fight Forever officially announced. No official date. Trailer is out there. We'll have the links down there as well. I feel like I shouldn't say doobly doos. I've said it way too many times after you have name dropped it on me. But yeah, links will be there for that. Jeff T, I am sorry. Socials. That's where you can follow them.
Yeah.
Him.
Him. More than one person.
Fair. At WTN Wrestling, follow us. There you have it over there. Follow us on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at WTN Wrestling, unless if it's on Twitch, where it's WTN_Wrestling Talk Now. I don't think I even did it wrong for... I'm trying to read my own thing.
It's your own like things that you run and you don't even remember it. Like, what the hell, man?
I didn't put the socials up though. That's kind of the thing. And then he changes it every so often and it's weird. So links are right there. But on Twitch, it's WTN_Wrestling Talk Now. At Wrestling Talk Now is the fucking every other social media. On my Twitch though, JLB TLC 25. I do a lot of WWE 2K22 as well as a lot of other various video game streaming. And Real Talk Radio is also the brand for that, where I talk about a little bit of everything from not from wrestling. I do too many wrestling podcasts, so that sticks there. But for movies, music, video games, to everything else around in any kind of entertainment fashion. And that is it. I'd like to thank you guys for joining us, for the Ambrosias of the world, the Cows of the world. Thank you to also
the guy who just said
Mr.
random
Emoji.
emojis. Yeah, Mr. Emoji.
Yeah, and of course, Mr. Cash, as always. You can follow Mr. Cash at Mr. Cash on Twitch as well. He also plays a lot of video games. He likes No Man's Sky a lot. So you'll see him play that if you're a No Man's Sky fan. Yeah, not too shabby. And that is pretty much it. So obviously, if you want to know more, we'll keep you posted on all the socials there of what goes down. And that is it. Jeff, thank you for showing up and not being a mark. Good sir. Thank you.
Never.
It's never a mark. Fair enough. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys next week and hopefully see what else Triple H does on SmackDown and then Raw, and then we'll see what comes out of it. Hopefully it is for the better. And we will find out, and we'll talk to you then on next Thursday's rundown. But until then, I do not have the outro ready at all. This is
a new era is beginning.
A new era is beginning, folks. Where is that damn outro? Oh, that's not even the right one. A new era is beginning. Until next time, though, ciao for now.